absorption of light. So these are the experimental data. Of course, this effect is highly significant. Then the question is, I have a minute or two, or questions and answers. Okay, so the last point is, what is the physical phenomena? This will take a second. Explaining this. If it's not a force field and it's not the magnetic vector potential, there are other kinds of potentials that are mathematically based. And the one of most interest to me is the quantum potentials proposed by David Bohm, because associated with quantum potentials are quantum fields. And this kind of experimental data supports the theories that quantum fields are involved with the process of information storage in water. Thank you very much. Okay, you can read that while I'm talking, because.
Yeah, I need to apologize to the speaker and the audience. I got so engrossed in taking notes that I missed his 3 and 1 minute warnings.
So that's why we missed the last slide, but you can read it.
So questions in the corner.
With regard to the water exposed to bipolar coil, how long does the change in spectroscopic property last?
That's a great question. I've done that with various energized treatments, and it seems to be a rather permanent change. It seems to last for months, which kind of surprised me. I kept the sample around and said, okay, I'm just going to see what happens, months later. And it seems to be rather permanent change, which is what is required for a homeopathic type of mechanism. So that's why I believe that these kind of subtle energy fields are involved with homeopathy, because it has to be a permanent change.
Garrett.
So you jump from having this vector potential to saying that it's some sort of a quantum effect, I guess a Bohm-Abrahamov sort of effect. Why do you make that jump? Why don't you just say that you've got an effect, a direct effect of the vector potential?
Oh, because because Tiller calculated the intensity of the A field in the bifilar situation, and Cyril Smith had done some calculations showing that there was a minimum amount of A field required to imprint. And if we go back a couple slides, that threshold was significantly higher than the actual amount of the A field calculated in the bifilar coil. So therefore, I'm concluding that the A fields they may be important, but in addition to the A field, I think some of these other non-classical potentials are also involved. That's why I made the jump. Sorry, that might not have been clear.
There's 2 comments I wanted to make. One is there's some small bit of work that's been done on sacred space, preparing a space for experimentation. And what you're really talking about in the water mixed in with the water molecules are just smaller spaces. So that might have something to do with it. And the other thing is there's a recent paper or something just came out on the entanglement with biologic plant material at room temperature. And I'm not sure if that might not be.
Well, volume entangle. Okay, well, in response to the latter question, quantum entanglement is another one of the theories that have been put out. I'm only describing the theory of Del Giudice and Preparata about how information is stored in water, but other people have talked about the role of quantum entanglement when dealing with a homeopathic preparation in a clinical situation, because they believe that there's a quantum entanglement between the practitioner, the subject, and the remedy. So that's another reason why clinical trials are often not reproducible, because we really don't know the resonant conditions to ensure the quantum entanglement.
The bifilar coil is true, there'll be cancellation, but it's not perfect. These fields aren't uniform, and so some of that space, it's not going to have that good cancellation, so that there isn't one number that's going to describe your whole space. Well, so what's the coil size and the water size and all that stuff is important.
I didn't actually mention it, but BZ is the, and AZ is the intensity of the A field and the B field in the central axis, right along the center. And that's where the test tube was placed, very carefully, right in the dead center of the bifilar coil, where the B field and the A field were virtually zero. So yes, you're correct, and if I had not had this, the test tube in the dead center off to the side, then
What's the diameter of the test tube versus the...
okay, that's true. Okay, it's not a zero diameter, obviously, but you know, within experimental error. And okay, so you're proposing that there may be a larger contribution of the B field and the A field present in the water, and this is a very good point. Thank you very much. The diameter of the tube is a test tube, basically, and the coil itself was probably, you know, a couple of inches, that kind of diameter. But that is a very good point, and ultimately, to repeat these experiments, you want to get a really thin, well, you could, I mean, that argument, you can never get a thin enough cylinder of water in the dead center. Okay, good point.
Unfortunately, we're now out of time for questions.
Thank you.